Hello, dear friends. If you had watched our previous video on grief, I had discussed the multifaceted aspects to grief and some of its common symptoms and how it can lead to either post-traumatic growth or it can lead to prolonged and heightened activation of the nervous system. Now, when unresolved, chronic grief can negatively affect cognitive, emotional, and physical health and decrease one's quality of life. But thankfully, we do have tools that can support us with coping with these hard transitions that are inevitable parts of life and that can assist us with aiding and healing. Now, essential oils are one of my favorite modalities that can help us deal with anything related to emotional or mental upheaval. They can help us deal with difficult emotions in a very precise and healthy way. Our little aromatic allies can be used to assist us in the ability to move forward and enhance our enjoyment of life after trauma or loss, or just when we're going through a challenging transition. So this video post is a continuation from that previous video. And what I will do is always, all the references and the links to previous articles and studies will be in the link in the accompanying article to this video. So you will have that available to you. I want to pick up with my discussion on how essential oils can affect our brain function and highlight some specific essential oils that can aid in the symptoms of grief that are often common in people who are struggling with prolonged or chronic grief. I also want to discuss the Aroma Freedom Technique and some other somatic practices which can help resolve hard emotions, assist with positive transformations, and can be used with essential oils in conjunction for an even more powerful healing response. So, what I want to go over in this video on grief and essential oils and aromatherapy is a review of how essential oils can help with grief, how essential oils can impact neuroplasticities through the Aroma Freedom Technique specifically, the effect of essential oils on other aspects of brain function and grief, and then those specific essential oils for various symptoms that people can have with unresolved trauma, loss, or grief. So first of all, a quick review if you missed the last video or just to kind of give a refresher to your brain, how can essential oils help with grief? This is because of the aromatic nature of essential oils as one of the most distinct reasons why essential oils can help with grief, because of the connection to smell in our brain. Aromas reach our brain's limbic system, which is our memory and emotional center, directly. And this causes an instantaneous shift in our emotional and mental state. Now, smell actually influences our brain directly. It does not have to go through a relay station for interpretation, but it hits our subconscious before it even hits our conscious awareness that our mood and our biophysiology has shifted. So, because of this direct influence on smell and mood, when we inhale essential oils, we can alter our mental state and we can have a direct interference with our brain's imprinting of trauma when we're triggered or when we're going back into an emotional state which we are stuck in. It creates this sort of pattern interrupt with the brain imprinting of trauma. So, what it does is it can actually enforce feelings of security, hope, and well-being, and kind of alleviate those feelings of helplessness and sadness. At the same time, there's biochemical properties of essential oils. It's not just the aroma. They have chemical compounds in them that can shift our physiology and aid with some of the physical, emotional, and cognitive manifestations that are associated with grief. But let's step back a little and talk about how specifically essential oils can aid with grief with creating neuroplasticity. So that's a buzzword. Let me explain a little bit. Our brains adapt to change and novel information by forming new pathways and neural connections. This rewiring is necessary for our daily functioning and our survival. When we have destructive or implicit or subconscious memories from our past experiences, whether they be trauma, loss, or grief, they can bias our beliefs and unconsciously run our lives if we don't have access to those. And then we can become dysfunctional. We're basically running on bad software programming in the back of our brain, and there's no antivirus tools to get to our brain. But There is. Actually, the Aroma Freedom Technique helps to pull these negative thoughts out by creating this pattern interrupt that I talked about with essential oils to actually stimulate the neurons in the brain to reroute from the state of destructive thinking and into more helpful healing thought patterns in a calculated way. So this aroma freedom technique facilitates the neuroplasticity that we can already get just from smelling essential oils and rewiring the brain with intention, but it uses memory deconsolidation and reconsolidation in a unique way. What this process first entails is accessing the old neural pathway memory, because first we have to find where it is in order to change it. And in this instance, grief would bring up various physical and emotional sensations as we are accessing how we feel. We're kind of stepping into ourselves. Next, essential oils are introduced, which would calm the mind and body and begin shifting this association of this memory and somatic experiences with altering brain patterns and feelings. So this is called deconsolidation. We're taking this old thought pattern that automatically we go to this memory and we feel this way. And we're using essential oils to create this pattern interrupt to start to shift that old memory association into something new. And this is where we create new brain routes with different essential oils while simultaneously focusing on a new goal related to either that memory or just something that we want to accomplish from the session. So essential oils aid to redirect the brain pathways once we get activated by these triggers, and they can anchor us back into relaxation and clarity if we get this overwhelming emotion or if we're in a particular situation that reminds us of the triggering event. This would be considered the reconsolidation, right? We're rebuilding those neural system pathways with our sense of smell. It's an impressive application of essential oils. It was invented by Dr. Ben Perkis, and it's based on neuroscience, psychology, and how essential oils impact our nervous system and our vagus nerve. It accelerates our innate capacity to heal not just our minds, but also our bodies because of the mind-body connection and the physiology response patterns that we get from the essential oils. I actually recommend AFT to many of my clients if they're stuck in old negative patterns, they can't break habits or have limiting beliefs and behaviors. And it's also very helpful for releasing emotional upheaval and overwhelm because it helps to rewire the brain. It helps to address the cause of these old destructive patterns and get to that imprinting process. I actually have links to Dr. Perkis and his information in the accompanying article, and I myself have personally connected with Dr. Perkis, and he's helped me move through some events in my life that I didn't even realize were running my subconscious. And once those blocks were removed, things got a lot better. So that is neuroplasticity and AFT, specifically through this memory reconsolidation after we deconsolidated some of those old beliefs. And then we know that essential oils work on that imprinting of the neural pathways in our brain associated with our memory center. So now that we know that they can help with releasing stuck emotions and to rebalance our mind and body after a challenging transition, let's look at how they can also assist our brain in other ways. So they help with trauma and emotional states. They also modulate hormones and brain signaling patterns. They can shift our brain electrical activity at the same time. They can protect the nervous system in general from stress and oxidative stress. They're neuroprotectors so that cells don't break down from inflammation. And they impact neuroplasticity, as I mentioned. So we know that different essential oils have a capacity for different parts of our body. This is a generalized kind of interpretation of essential oils. For example, we know that, say, lavender is good for anxiety in general. And of course, that's going to change based on a person's memory-based associations and preferences. But in a general way, we know that. So what I want to do is go through some oils that might be specifically helpful for some of those manifestations of grief we talked about in the previous video that can occur when our body's stressed from these prolonged feelings of overwhelm and emotional stress. So for memory changes, our memory, remember, can get affected because those emotions are hitting our limbic system, our survival system. Rosemary and sage oils are my two favorite oils for helping with memory. They actually have human clinical evidence that they do assist with memory. As far as energy and focus issues when someone is grieving or in trauma, there's rosemary, there's sage, jasmine, there's citrus oils, which are great for children, and peppermint oil. Those all have been found to help with fatigue, focus, and energy. They're invigorating essential oils. Again, that's rosemary, sage, jasmine, citrus, and peppermint. If we're talking just about having excess stress on the nervous system, we can think of essential oils that help with overwhelm and excess stress, maybe help calm cortisol levels down. These are oils such as clary sage, lavender, bergamot. There's a stress relief blend that I love and the parasympathetic blend that I love. There's also straight ylang ylang oil as well. If people are having sleep problems, there's a circadian rhythm blend that I like to use, as well as just straight lavender oil, which has been shown in a very small clinical trial to actually help release melatonin. And this can help people address their sleep-wake times that can get off with grief or a traumatic event and just aid sleep in general and relaxation. As far as digestive issues, because there's a gut-brain link, many people experience digestive problems when they're grieving or in hard emotions. Peppermint, ginger, fennel, frankincense, and an intestinal mucosa blend can help to ease inflammation and irritation that contribute to gut issues related to this nervous system hyperstimulation of grief and stress and trauma. For overall mood support and whole body balance, there's a joyful blend, which combines various essential oils for mood, for enhancing self-worth, for supporting hormonal balance, and for easing stress and supporting overall well-being. I actually wrote an article in the Townsend Letter that was published on using this blend along with other integrative techniques to help somebody with symptoms of anxiety and stress. And then for stored emotions that are causing somatic issues, so just general aches and pains related to the chronic stress the body is under, there's two blends I like to use with my clients in conjunction with some of these other specific essential oils for specific symptoms. And those are the fascia release blend and limbic reset blend. And they're made of various essential oils that are used to release the trauma from the tissues and also help the mind relax more to empower the person more to feel safe to release some of these symptoms as well. So you can use all of these essential oils within the AFT technique. You can use them outside of your sessions. You can use them with Jennifer Presselman's scent mapping method. She also accesses the brain and emotions through an interesting method. I think very highly of her as a clinical aromatherapist as well. And then for any somatic therapy that you might be doing as well for trauma, which is another way to get in touch with our sensory processing after we've been through a traumatic event, you can use the fascia release and limbic reset, and you can use them just in general with all of the different techniques and practices in your essential oils. So that was a lot of information, but I wanted to get you some of the nitty gritty here. Remember, there's the accompanying article, so you can go through all of this information at your leisure and maybe get more information on some of these blends and processes if this is something that you've been struggling with, or maybe forward it to a friend that might be struggling. We want to kind of summarize this all up on processing grief, trauma, loss, hard emotions with essential oils. So the aromatic nature of essential oils helps us effectively process grief and loss because of the way that scent directly impacts the limbic system, our emotional and memory center. And they prompt a calming response instantaneously because they have this direct connection. They don't go through the relay of a conscious processing before they create an effect like our other senses do. Essential oils also influence our brain functioning and help us enhance our resilience in our emotions as well as in our body because they modulate hormones, brain signals, neuroplasticity, and they offer neuroprotection. We can use specific oils with various symptoms related to grief. These include rosemary and sage oils for memory and focus issues, clary sage, lavender, bergamot, the stress relief blend, and parasympathetic to help relieve stress, the circadian rhythm blend and lavender to support sleep, peppermint, ginger, fennel, frankincense, and intestinal mucosa for gut issues, and the somatic blends of fascia release and limbic reset, along with these oils to help with stored tension in the mind and body. We can use AFT and somatic practices with essential oils to help rewire brain pathways at the level of the brain imprint of that trauma. And they can also do this while addressing various manifestations of grief, loss, and trauma. So I hope you found this information helpful. We've been through a lot as a general world, right? Global. It's not just even our nation, the past few years and just in our history. And dealing with all of those outside stressors as well as technology and just our regular lives, I think essential oils can really fill the void of some of these mental health issues that we're seeing on a rise and help us cope better and just stay grounded in ourselves. So please take this information, share it, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any other ways that essential oils can support us on our healing journey. And also make sure that you do subscribe to the newsletter because I'll have some programs, offerings, and tips that I don't post on social media or even on my website that you can catch in between.